Hi everybody! Welcome back. This will be the last of the Imbolc Midwinter February 1st holiday videos. Talking about this holiday and all of the things. So if you haven't seen the other videos, I would definitely recommend going and checking them out. If you've watched all of them, you're amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe if you found this video or, whatnot. Go ahead and subscribe. There's more. Check out my channel. Go see what's going on in other places. Anyways, actually I'm mostly active here, so. So, Midwinter, February 1st, Imbolc. These are the names that are most commonly used. This is the holiday of the middle of winter. And so it's celebrated all around the world, not just by the Celtics or the Norse or whatever. Even in South America or the Southern Hemisphere, they have holidays that are celebrated at this time. It would be August 1st instead of February 1st. Right now they're celebrating the early harvest, so they're on the totally opposite side. But they have holidays down there in February that are associated with the same kind of energy. So in this research that I did, I try not to exclude any religion or ancient practice or whatever, and I just pull what holidays we can find. As with all things, it's hard to find information about ancient pagan holidays. We all know why. I guess we don't all know why. I'll state what I feel is pretty obvious. It's just that ancient people didn't write things down, and Christians erased things they didn't like. I mean, early monks, conquerors. I don't know of a better PC way to say that. But anyway, so this time of year is associated with milk and the mother goddess and the grandmother goddess and the transforming goddess, the youthful energy of the god, and just that new beginnings, that transition. So some of the gods that are associated with this time are, again, like youthful gods, fire gods, gods that transition. You'll also see. Oh, I wish I could just read this list to you, but I can't pronounce most of these words. Ugh, they're not in this language. I mean, I can pronounce some of them. So we have Apollo, we have Adria, that's a god and then a goddess. We have Arachne, it would be Erinrude, I think. Artemis. I would celebrate her more actually towards May, a little later. So not her. Sorry. Let's take her off this list. We have Vesta. Venus is an interesting one that's in different cultures, and the planet Venus and the gods that are associated with it. Venus is both a morning star and an evening star, and this was recognized by our ancestors long before they knew it was a planet, just when they saw it as a celestial being or whatever. But so this is that time when we see that transition. And so that's why she's associated with this and that planet and that star. It's not a star, it is a planet, but that celestial body. Selene, Pan, Osiris, a lot of your resurrection gods. This is when they're coming out of their youthful nature and growing into their, their young man. We have Cernunnos, Air, which is EIR. Is another one. Freyr, Gia, Hestia, a lot of those fire goddesses. And also youthful gods, transition gods, mother, grandmother, someone who gave birth to nobility. So a lot of the goddesses are those. So you'll look them up and be like, oh, this is the mother of Odin. I don't know if she's on this list. She might be one of these giants. A lot of those mother giantresses are. So then the stones for this holiday are going to be amethyst, bloodstone, garnet, moonstone, onyx, ruby, turquoise. Oh, my husband just got home from work. Okay, so, and these are all red stones, deep stones, and stones that are associated with that like internal transition kind of red blood, life force, stuff like that. Sorry, we had to take a moment. So the stones that are associated, they have that blood aspect, that life-giving, and that correlates back to the milk. And these are life-giving things, and that's why they're honored at this time. Plants that are honored at this time, you're going to see a commonality in that you're going to see a lot of trees on this list, and you're also going to see plants that come early and that like spread like weeds. So we have Angelica, ash tree, or rowan if you're not in America, basil, bay laurel, blackthorn, cedar, calendine, chamomile, cinnamon, clover, coltsfoot, dill, evergreen, frankincense, the tree resins, because they last all winter long. You can also go out now and find them on the trees. Don't take too many though, because you don't want to damage the tree while it's still cold. Ginger, grain, and reed stalk, hence the reed grass that we use to like make the Bridget's cross. Hibiscus, iris. You have some irises that bloom really, really early, so that you get those real pretty. Myrrh, rosemary, rowan, sandalwood. The rosemary is an evergreen. So not all rosemary is evergreen. I mean, they are, but they don't. Some of them die back and then grow back in the whatever. So, sandalwood, sycamore, vanilla, violet, willow. Again, like there were a lot of trees, a lot of early blooming flowers, those things, those first signs of spring, first grass, things like that. Let's see. So, animals obviously are going to be like burrowing animals, your groundhog, your ferrets, things like that, because they're coming out of hibernation at this time. Deer, robin, sheep, not the robin is the bird, okay, but the sheep and the deer, it's gonna be animals that would have started coming out at this time, start coming back, the migrating, when you start to see that. I guess the robin is in that. Swan, because of the transition that the swan has from the ugly duckling to the beautiful swan. And all of the mythology with the swan is very much that same kind of transitioning. And then the last two on the list are, you're like, what? So it's vulture and wolf. The wolf is the lone survivor and will thrive also in a community, but the survivor. And that's why they're honored at this time. Also the wolf moon. And that's because you would hear the wolves calling at this time because it's cold, they're hungry, and they're out looking for food and hunting and talking to each other. The vulture, on the other hand, where it's not a predatory hunter, the vulture is the scavenger, and they can always find food because there are dead things everywhere, and they just go out and find that food, and this is their time. So they're going out and they're eating the frozen carcasses and whatnot and surviving. And so that's that energy that you can call to at this time. And take power in that you will survive, you can forage, you can find, you can do and succeed. Bread, better, some of the foods, sorry, I went straight to the list. So some foods that are eaten at this time and honored at this time are going to be our breads, our butters, bread and butter obviously, chives and early greens, things that grow really early and fast. Sometimes you'll get garlic at this time, but then like lamb and milk. And sour cream dishes, different milk dishes, cheese, stuff like that. And that's what you would eat. So, those are some of the correspondence. Last, but my favorite part, I guess, is going to be this myths and traditions. I'm going to try not to just straight read it, but I don't have this information very memorized, obviously, since it's the correspondence list. I use them. I have this like hardcore paragraph thing that is on the computer that I print out to use for like teaching and lessons and stuff like that because it has lots of different information. I also have a correspondence sheet that's just a piece of paper that has all the information so I can see it fast and use it in my own practice. There's nothing wrong with writing things down, okay? Don't feel like you have to memorize everything, especially when it comes to the holidays. I'm going to go around the world with these holidays in part to show how much you see a connection in the celebrations, even if the cultures aren't connected. So first and foremost, because we call this Imbolc, let's talk about Imbolc. In Ireland, Imbolc is celebrated as the transition of the change between the cold of winter and when we see the return of spring. It's a transition. There is the myth of Cailleach Brer and bride, and when she changes from, Lady of the Winter to bride, the youthful flower goddess. sometimes they're referred to as Bridget in her two aspects. Sometimes they're different goddesses. It just kind of depends on the mythology and who you're reading with. And so there's a lot of different mythologies that go along with them. Sometimes they're one, sometimes the hag tricks the bride. But they all kind of come along in this same thing with this transition from the elderly and the wise into the youthful maiden. And another myth is that Kalek, the hag, winter hag, she went to the eternal youth well, the well of eternal youth, and she drank from this well, and it restored her youthfulness back to the beginning. And so that's why wells are sacred at this time, and you go and ask for these blessings. Water, again, water would have been frozen for a long time, so now you might start to see the river starting to move and see those kind of things happening. So wells were visited and were holy places. Let's see. No matter which one of the myths it is, it's bride who takes power at this time, and she moves forward as the youthful, wonderful, they're both wonderful, the youthful, goddess of the flower in the spring, so that she can start waking up the earth. And by the time we get to the equinox in high spring, we're in full spring. Let's see. Oh, to honor Bridget at this time, or even the whatever goddess, it would be tradition to leave out clothes or other items to be blessed by the goddess at this time. So you would leave clothes out for Bridget, and then you would also leave your new clothes out. You would buy new clothes. They would be blessed so that you had them throughout the year. If you have like a talisman or a charm or something you want the goddess to bless, you can leave it out, and she'll bestow her blessings on it. In Scotland, it was believed that Kalek gathered wood on this day. So, like the groundhog's myth, when the groundhog comes out and if he sees a shadow, he hides and he goes back underground. So it's one of those opposites. If it's warm on February 2nd, then it's going to be cold for a long time. And if it's cold on February 2nd, then it's going to be warm sooner. So in the Scottish tradition or mythology, Kalek goes out to collect wood on February 2nd in the middle of winter. And she's already decided if she's going to make more snow for a long time or if she's going to rest and not have so much snow. If she makes the weather nice on February 2nd so she can go out and collect wood, then it's going to be cold for longer because she needs more wood to sustain through the rest of winter. If it's cold on that day, then she opted out of collecting wood and it will be warm sooner because she doesn't need to collect more. I guess if that makes sense. It's like one of those, like I said, it's the opposites. And, sorry, I gotta get a glass of water. Hold on. Okay, better. Sorry, I was getting really raspy there for a minute. All right. So, in the Nordic festival, we have the Festival of Ides. Disting Festival of Ides. The Ides are the souls of the elderly mothers and the wise women who watch over the children and the family after they've passed. So this would be a time when we toasted to them, we made dinner to them, we honored them. You honored the matriarchs of your family, and sorry, there's like lots of stuff about. So it was a lot about. So there was a lot of livestock. So a lot of the things that are done right now are like blessing your livestock, blessing your barn, blessing your home, blessing the things that are going to bring you prosperity through the year, that are going to help you succeed and do all of the stuff that you need to do. And that was really important. And it was the mothers and the grandmothers who watched over the children and the family while all of that was happening. So everything could go on at once. So this is when you toasted to that and blessed that energy. Now the dog is down here. It's not the husband or the children, it's the dog. That's why I try to make the videos at like 6 in the morning. It's the only quiet time. So, now if we travel over to Greece and Athens and Rome and in Greece and over there. So the new moon in late January or early February, kind of depending again on that person who said which moon it was. And their months didn't line up perfect with ours. At some point in history, there was a line drawn where they're like, okay, yes, they do. But before that, when these holidays were practiced, they didn't. The calendars were different. There was a spiritual calendar. There was a government calendar. So, again, that's why this person who kept track of all of this was like, bam. So, in the Athenian calendar, this is when the Festival of Dionysus was. You brought out all of the wine that had been fermenting over the winter from the harvest, and now it's been fermented and it's ready to drink, and you would honor that. You would bring out the wine, they would have grand festivals, everybody would go out and drink and be merry. There would be grand parades and plays and dances, and everybody would hang out and party together, so slave and master and all of that stuff would come out together. Then on the dark moon, following that, so you had, on the dark moon, you would celebrate Dionysus, and depending on where you were or what cult you followed or whatnot, but then you would have the great, I'm not even going to try to pronounce these words. Maybe the camera will focus on it. It's got like the A and the E all put together. Let's see, right there, bam, see the great, whatever that word is. So this is the marriage between Zeus and Hera. And this is not just like a marriage, whatever. This is a joining and blending of cosmic energies, the yin and yang coming together kind of thing. When that symbol was created in Greek mythology would have been when Zeus and Hera got married. And so that's what that represents. And this is what was celebrated. And then it's from that union that like all life comes forward, all fertility, all blessings, all of that stuff. And then the full moon later in January or in early February, again, depending. In Roman festivals was the festival of sowing. So this is when you would go out and plant your seeds. And so they would call to the mother goddesses, Terra and Persephone and Crius. I mean, Persephone's not, but she's included, even though she's not whatever. Ceres, and the grain goddesses, and they would offer cakes and libations and toast to that in the field, and then they would do their planting. Also, the Romans would have celebrated Lupercalia on the February 15th. And this, around there. It would be halfway between the equinox and the solstice. So you would have to, again, somebody would do the math. This is the day. And this is when a goat was sacrificed, and it was called upon to bless the youth and to bless the fields. And these are parts of myths that I just not always a big fan of sharing, because I think, one, they've been colored by Christianity over all the years, and two, it's something that we can't understand in our modern brains why they would do this, but they would sacrifice the goat, it would be skinned, and then they would run through town. The priest would run through town waving the skin, and if you got hit with it, it was seen as a good sign of prosperity. You have to think back to the story of Ares and the great ram and how he sacrificed himself and he gave his golden fleece so that the kingdoms could thrive and continue. And you have to think about that kind of mentality and what it would have been to have warmth. And you wouldn't, it's not like you were like, oh, I need a new coat, I'm gonna go kill my goat and then I'll have dinner and a coat. If you did that every day or every time you felt the need, especially in our modern world, you would run out of goat really quick. So to eat a goat, to eat meat, to eat a feast like this only happened once a month, only happened every 40 days on these special holidays, and was a really big deal. And you would have eaten porridge for 10 days straight, 20 days straight, 30 days straight, and waiting for a holiday. Like, please come on with a holiday. And then you would have been able to eat the goat. So it's not like now where we have whatever we want. These were important things. So the skin of this goat would have been very valuable. And so that's how you kind of have to think about it when you think about those kind of mythology or those practices. So let's go down to Egypt and the Nebka. We'll go with that. Festival. is celebrated. Oh, see, this is even a god, and it's so, I don't speak, and I'm sure somebody does, and I'm sorry, I wish I could. But this is the god that gives you your soul. So it is said now that Osiris received his soul by this god, gave it to him so that he could be, reborn and come here. So this is when we honor him, and we also we honor the rejuvenation of Ka, which is like chi, or your life force, your prana, all whatever culture, however, your inner life force. So we honor that. And even though this is a masculine god that we're honoring, it's that same principle. It's that inner energy, that inner force that comes out and gives life to everything. In Hindu, festival celebrated in late January on the full moon, so we just had the full moon, so they probably just celebrated it. Would have been the Hindu festival celebrating Ganesh, sorry, I'm hungry. Ganesh, and the moon, and the moon's path through the sky. This is also a time when Hindus will celebrate Saket. Oh no, wait, let's see. The moon god and the what is her name? There's a mother goddess that they call to. Oh, Saket. Saket. Anyways, so they couldn't light the kiln to make the pottery, and the village was dying, so they went and they asked, and they said, we'll sacrifice a child, and the kiln will light, and you'll be able to cook your pottery. So they made out a mandate. They said, all the children line up. We have to sacrifice a kid to light the kiln. And so they were doing this. And then there was a widow, and all she had was her son. And she prayed to this mother goddess, and she said, please help me. Please help my son. He has to survive or I'm going to die. So she blessed him, and she said the prayer. Maybe she gave him, what did she give him? Let's see. And, she gave him a nut from the betel tree. And he took it with him into the kiln, and the next morning not only was the kiln lit, but there was no sacrifice. And all of the other children returned. I think that my camera's going to die. Oh my goodness, I got to finish. So she's prayed to as this great mother energy. Again, with that mother energy. If you go to the Chinese New Year falls at this time, they are celebrating new things. It's tradition to clean your whole house. And light fireworks to scare away bad energy, to bring in good things, and to spread the love. So they give money. If you give money, then you receive money. So it's to give, to receive, and to spread that all around. So they especially give money to kids. Super fun. Then if we go down to the Aztecs, this is when they would have celebrated the rain festival and the welcoming of the rain. And they would have called to Tlaloc, the god of the rain. There were pilgrimages made by the elders and the kings to his altars and his temples in order to ask for rain to come. And of course we have the Bridget. Oh no, okay, so then, last but not least, down to South America. They would have celebrated this in August, but it's same celestial seasonal energy. So they would have celebrated this as a time of purification, and they would have asked for good irrigation as the rains came. Their big problem wasn't needing more water. It was like needing places for the water to go without the water taking their homes. So they asked for good irrigation. They asked for prosperous crops. They would have honored the thunder god Ilupa and celebrated him. And it is said that he made rain from the Milky Way that he kept in a jar, and he would shake it down upon the people. So, again, all around the world, they are celebrating purity and new beginnings and grandmothers and grandfathers and just that, wise energy making its full circle. So, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Let me know, like, subscribe, and I hope that you all have a fantastic and beautiful and blessed Imbolc, midwinter, whatever holiday you're celebrating. So, many blessings.